Okay, I think I'm live. I hope the audio is okay. Whenever I'm streaming, I never know if my audio is okay or not. I'm gonna check on my phone, like always, so I need to wait. Unless this is already getting recorded, but alright. Okay, I think I'm live. I hope the audio is okay. Whenever I'm streaming, I never know. Nah, there's like a sharp sound in the background. Like that's... Is it? It's probably my laptop. My laptop is gonna blow up. Not really. What do I do? Should I find a sock to cover it? I'm gonna try. Okay, I'll be back. I'm gonna try to find a sock to cover it. The sound. I'll be back. I'm gonna mute. Okay. You know it's really low on property. Wait, I'm not gonna. How do I make it louder? They OBS updated, so now I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought it was properties. I hope no one's watching. This is embarrassing. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait. OBS updated, so now I don't know what I'm doing. So. Okay, like this. Okay, the sound isn't as bad right now. I'm gonna wait for a bit. Okay. Was that really loud? I don't know. Okay, the sound isn't as bad right now. Okay, now it should be fine. Okay, hi to anyone watching. I don't think anyone's gonna watch, but I am going to be reading through the... I really hope I'm live. I'm live, right? I'm second guessing myself. I am going to be reading through the Rose Red Tyrant novel because I'm really bad at speaking. You can probably tell when I'm streaming because I like stutter a lot. I'm also really bad at like reading out loud from like a script or something, so I'm gonna practice, I guess. Yeah. I'm also really bad at conversation. I bought the book today just for this. It's beautiful. I already broke the spines, so I've seen some of the illustrations. They're chef kiss. I haven't looked too much in detail about it. What else do I want to say? Oh yeah, this also makes good use of my Yusuna, or literally just me, but in Twist Wonderland. Yeah, this is her down here. She used to have a purple vest and like the, what do you call it? The strap for the shoulder. They used to be purple because before I was like, hey, all of the dorms followed the rule of where like the gemstone is the vest color, so like, I gave purple, and I didn't know why everyone like gave their ramshackle Sona like OC gray, and then I was looking at the Savannah Claw manga and I was like, oh, also named Yuka. Yuka has it says that she has like a charcoal gray, I think. Vest. So I was like, okay, then I changed it. So yeah. So currently there is a version of my Yusona out there that's wrong. This is the updated one. But yeah. This is also gonna give me great material to read to. Okay, I want to draw like comics of my Yusona, so yeah, this is gonna give me great reference and a refresh of the story while also giving me, like, making it interesting for me. I was also gonna say something else, but I don't remember. Oh yeah, she's the ramshackle house warden, because originally I had two other friends that we were like doing this Twist Wonderland world. It didn't go that far, so just her now and Grim. Anyway, let's rip the synopsis. Meet the carouser and the carouser? Curiouser. Guys, I don't know English. Students of Night Raven College in Disney Twisted Wonderland, Rose Red Tyrant. When Yuya Kuroki is transported to the mysterious academy for the magically gifted, he must navigate. Okay, it's a he. Okay, I've heard good things about the novel, which is also why I'm interested in it. So yeah, and I also don't know anything about the novel. No spoiler, but I guess it's all the same story. So just like my how many time reading through it. I watched streams before it was available in Australia App Store. I played it myself. I watched the anime, I read the manga, and now the novel. Yay! He must navigate a colorful cast of characters as he searches for a way home. There's one problem. No one realizes where his home is. Yuya quickly realizes he's in over his head, stranded in a magical world filled with ghosts, monsters, fire-breathing cats, and bickering classmates. Without any magical abilities of his own, Yuya must struggle to find his place in Twisted Wonderland. Inspired by the classic Disney movie Alice in Wonderland and based on the popular mobile game Disney Twisted Wonderland Rose Red Tyrant, features an original concept by famed manga artist Yana Tobaso, creator of Black Butler. And then we have a very beautiful illustrated overblot riddle, like kind of poster what is this, like, yeah, A4. It's so pretty. I don't think I can bring myself to tear this off, even though I think you're supposed to like tear it off. I'm not gonna tear it off, it's gonna stay in there forever, huh? And then you have the coffins. I'm scared to open the book, even though I've already like broke the spine. Like breaking the spine is, I guess, kind of like what do you call it? Crimping a wig if you're into cosplaying. Like you're prepping the book. Written by Jun Hioki, original concept, cover art and illustrations by Yana Toboso. Translation and adaptation by Jocelyn Allen. Thank you, Jocelyn. Content, Part 1, Welcome to the Villain's World. Part 2, Rose Heart Tyrant. Oh, it's printed in Canada. Oh. Yes, for once it's not an American thing. Haha. Anyway, the first picture. I don't know who's speaking. Is this Crowley? I'll just speak in my like kind of neutral voice, I think. Sorry, I'm gonna move my mic. My dear esteemed benefactor, my proud, beautiful flower of evil, you are truly the fairest of one all. O magic mirror, thy wisdom I entreat. Reveal upon me the visage that I seek. Very Snow White inspired, I guess, because there's the mirror, magic mirror, but I guess it's also like the mirror where we get sorted into. Yeah, it's not started yet. Hold on, guys. Smoke snaked from the mountain of debris. Thick like rain clouds, it puffed upwards to blanket the sky. Fire had raised everywhere in the... Ooh, is this Yuya's backstory? Ooh, you're enough fire? Or is this grim? Fire had raised everywhere in the area, and anything that escaped the flames had been torn down by windstorm. Amidst the racket, an iron wind frame dropped. Is there two O's in drop? Or is it an actual word? Hold on. I cannot English. Dropped. Really? Really? Wait, there's two O's when it's past tense. Wow. I'm learning English, guys! I totally haven't been speaking English my whole life. Where was I? Amidst the wreckage, an iron window frame dropped, reminiscent of a withered plant stalk. Fissures cracked open the ground, and treetops still stretched outwards. All traces of the building's former majesty were gone. The sight was so dreadful that it would have been easier to accept the idea that this had always been a wasteland, and that time we spent here had been an illusion. Ooh, interesting. What happened? Ashes blew through the air. The wind swept up fragments of glass and pebbles that dug into my skin. Okay, this is Yuya. I'm not gonna do a male voice even though it is a he, because I can't... Well, actually, I can't go that deep, but I'm gonna pretend Yuya is... I'm not really... My now, Suna. The wind swept up fragments of glass and pebbles that dug into my skin, prickling, stinging. I somehow managed to wrenched my eyelids open, though they tried to stay shut to protect my eyes. The first thing I saw was blue flames. Blue flames? Burning up the dust and sending sparks scattering. The fire shimmered and licked the sky. When I looked closely into the flame, I could see my eyes blazing brightly, protruding nostril panting raggedly, fangs as large as my face. Before my eyes was a... This is the before the prologue, is it? It is! Wait. Okay. New headcanon? Yes. This is my this is my Yusona Naoki, and this is like, because this is Grim over blotting, right? Yeah. Oh my god. So I am the final one seeing all of this. Huh? Just kidding. My fangs as large as my face. Before my eyes was a beast so large I could tilt my head back until it ripped clean off, and it still not see the end of it. The beast, hey, it is not hideous. The beast's hideous face twisted into a fearsome snarl as it howled. Something moved in the corner of my eye. A person, and not just one. People in black robes dotted the scorching earth. Crowed hood hid their eyes, and they shouted desperately, but I couldn't catch a word of it. The beast's jaws dropped, and its legs shook, unsteady once more. Neither could I hear the howl so loud and intense it shook the very earth itself. More intense than anything of that was the voice whispering intensely in my mind. The time left to me, to them, to you, is short. You must not let go of that hand. Part 1. Welcome to the villain's world. A hooded figure stretched a hand out towards him. He had to take it. He knew this instinctively, without any conscious thought, but for some curious reason, he couldn't move. The monster before him grinned. Oh, what was that sound? Yuya Kudoki suddenly felt like something was off. I better find a uniform before someone spots me. Wait, I just realized I have to voice act for all of the characters. That was my grim impression. The voice sounded amused and a little insane. Someone was laughing and humming to themselves. The happy-go-lucky feel of it was strange just to listen to, and there was a weariness enveloping his entire body, like soaked in what? Like, as I can be. The happy-go-lucky feel of it was straining just to listen to, and there was a weariness enveloping his entire body, like a soak in a lukewarm bath. He wasn't the least bit on edge. I feel like the total opposite of how I did a minute ago, he thought. I mean, well, that whole thing earlier was... Huh? Wait, what whole thing? He couldn't remember being frightened, sad, but he couldn't really remember why or what had troubled him. Like a crumbling sandcastle, the more he tried to grab a hold of the memory, the hazier the details became. In the time it took to blink, he'd forgotten it all. Well, that's how it is with dreams. Oh, I guess this is all a dream too. He heard a carefree voice again, much closer this time.
Whoa, okay, this is the one. This guy right here.
Comfortable. It's like I'm inside a giant hug or something. Just having his eyes closed gave him the ultimate sense of security. He never dozed like this before and was quite certain that he would have the best dreams of his life if he could just fall completely asleep. As Yuya dozed, it feels weird saying Yuya because my favorite Seiyu is Hirosei Yuya, so I'm like Yuya. As Yuya dozed and started to drift off, the world around him began to shake violently back and forth. Oh, what is that? He opened his eyes and was surprised again, but he could see nothing, only darkness. A darkness so completed that his eyes did not adjust to it, even after a minute or two. He didn't even know where he was standing. He didn't even know whether he was standing or sitting, or lying down. He tried to shift, but discovered he couldn't move the way he wanted to. If he bent his legs the tiniest bit, his knees bumped up against something. It was the same with his arms and head. He was apparently locked up somewhere. He was apparently locked up somewhere, and that somewhere is a very small space. Hope you're not claustrophobic. The gentle embrace changed into a firm restraint. Fear rose inside of him, and his palm grew damp with sweat. He heard the voice again.
Desolate weighs a ton. Desolate weighs a ton. Maybe I should smash it with something. Bang, bang.
The shaking grew more violent. His forehead slammed into something. Then the back of his head smashed into something too, over and over. The repeated collision were making him dizzy. What on earth was happening?
No good, huh? Well, I ain't giving up so easy as that.
Yuya held his breath. What terrible fate awaits him next?
Try this for a sign.
He thrust his hands towards the same time as the voice laughed. He had to get out of there right that second. Ow! He cried out when something hard whacked him. It was the ground. He felt queasy, like his brain was rolling around inside his skull. He pressed his hand to the cold stone beneath him and staggered to his feet. Where am I? He wondered, and his voice echoed oddly. He had apparently fallen into a large space. He confirmed that he could move his arms and legs again, and felt a wave of relief wash over him. His surroundings were dimly lit, that his eyes adjusted easily to the gloom, even though he had just come from a pitch-black place. Maybe it was already nighttime. Yuya looked up and saw stars above him, just as he had expected stars. Okay, this is very interesting because we never know like what happened before they get to the entrance ceremony. Because in the manga, they always appear like right during the ceremony. Or is this the ceremony? Yuya looked around and saw stars above him, just as he had expected, but they were swinging wildly. Strange somehow. When he looked harder, he realized they were not stars and the moon. Okay, never mind. This is this is the ceremony. Where am I? But rather the components of a chandelier. Decorative drops shimmer like opals, illuminated by small candles. The light was rather subdued for how big the chandelier was. The candles looked like they would go out at the sight his breeze, and he felt anxious just looking at them. He used the light they shed to examine his surroundings. He was standing in what appeared to be a narrow hallway. A narrow hallway. Wait. A narrow hallway, and through the gloom meant he couldn't tell what was ahead of him. There were black boxes on either side of him, hundreds of them. Are these coffins? He murmured. The boxes were hexagon with long sides tugged out a bit. They looked exactly like coffins. Silver keyholes adorned the polished black lids. You could tell just by looking at them that the boxes were heavy, and they were just big enough for a single person to fit inside. In line with their supposed purpose, they were lined up in rows, crammed in on either side of the hall. Is this a graveyard? But then Yuya frowned, perplexed. All the coffins were bobbing up and down, as if they were having a truly great time. From a certain angle, it looked almost as though they were dancing. He had no idea what mechanism. I know this word, but I just can't pronounce it right now. Mechanism was, but there was something inside of them. Then the dancing was in pretty poor taste. While he eyed the bobbing coffins dubiously, he noticed that the one next to him was different from all the others. It had no lid. It was empty inside. The black fabric lining looked soft and sleek, but he absolutely could not bring himself to touch it. As he looked around, he spotted the lid on the ground at his feet. Had he maybe just come out from this coffin? He couldn't be certain, but the coffin's padded interior had a human-shaped indentation in it, as if someone had recently stepped out from it. From where he was standing and the general situation, it seemed only natural to assume that someone was him. So why on earth had he been inside a coffin? He shuddered. What was this place? He wanted to believe that this wasn't a graveyard, but he had never seen it before and didn't know the first thing about it. Before this, he had been at school. Yuya massaged his temples to ease the ache in his head and thought back through hazy memories. He had left the classroom right after class 6 in the 6th period. He had zipped past classmates heading off to practice and various extracurricular activities and kept going out of the school gates and heading right home as usual. And then, okay, so this is a I guess this is teaching you to do extracurriculums. Wait, actually no, cause you can did extracurriculums and he got isekai too. So either way, you're screwed. Who's this? Oh no, this is Grim. Okay.
Hey, you!
Someone called out. It was the same voice he had heard in the darkness. He hurriedly scanned the area, but there was no one around.
Do your eyes not work or what?
The voice snarled from below.
I'm right here.
Yuya lowered his gaze. A stuffed animal? He wondered. A great plush toy was sitting before him. It was a decent size and it stood up on his back legs. It might have reached past his knees, the perfect size for a child to hug with their whole body. It had a striking striped ribbon tied around his neck. Really? Wait, did Grimm have a ribbon before he enrolled? I thought that was his uniform. I don't think he had the ribbon, did he? It had a striking striped ribbon tied around its neck, so maybe it belonged to someone. The insides of its ears and eyes were blue, and seemed to shine with the hazy light, while the patch of snowy white fur on its chest was soft and fluffy. What animal was it supposed to be? He'd never seen a creature like this. Its face was too round to be a dog, and it was too short and stout to be a cat. Fumbling through the process of elimination, he figured it was probably a weasel, he gasped.
How dare you!
The stuffed animal yelled as it turned its eyes at him.
I am no weasel. I'm Grim, the sorcerer extraordinary. Extraordinary.
I thought weasels are like longer than cats, no? Yeah, Tommy from Jack Genie is long. I don't think do Grim really looks like a weasel? I don't think so. It looks like it was going to come flying at him at any second. Oh, whoa! It talked. Yuya exclaimed as he jumped back. Maybe it's battery powered. If it was a mechanical doll, there would be a compartment somewhere in the backside. So Yuya reached out to pick up the stuffed animal to investigate, but it nimbly dodged him just as the forked tip of its tail beat the back of his head. You can do that! It was clearly moving with a will of its own. So it's not a stuffed animal? Yuya asked. He frowned, perplexed. It's alive? But how can a weasel be talking?
Listen, you. I'm not a weasel. I'm the mighty Grim.
I can't do Grim voice. The stuff. Hello, Tutor. Hello, Tutor. The stuffed creature snapped, then clicked its tongue.
Tch, and here I was gonna peel that thing off you while you were still sleeping. Way to ruin my plan, human.
He held out his paw like a human, palm up. Pink toe beans wriggled back and forth.
Well, whatever. Just give me your uniform and be quick about it.
Uniform? Cocking his head curiously to one side, Yuya looked down at himself and cried out in surprise. What is this? The last he knew, he had been wearing his school uniform. White shirt, school crest embroidered on the chest pockets, black trousers, an extremely simple, utterly average school outfit. And yet, he was now wrapped in a black robe, even though he had absolutely no recollection of getting changed. The sleeves were embroidered with a complex pattern in gold thread. A silky fabric hung from its belt, completely covering him down to his knees. Reflectively, he lifted the helm and stared. The fabric was as soft as it looked. It practically melted in his hand. He had been so focused on figuring out where he was that he hadn't even noticed that the clothing he wore was not his own. Even his shoes were different. Let me crack my neck. Why am I... He groaned. When...
Oh, come on. I don't have time for this, Grim snarled. Hand it over, Vanny.
Oh, whoa! Yuya managed to dodge as Grim lunged at him. The stuffed animal picked himself up off the ground.
You're gonna regret this!
Monster! Yuya yelled, inching backwards. Are you trying to bite me? He spotted the door by the stairs and bolted towards it. Chapter 2. Oh, wait. No, I guess this is... Oh, okay. This is already in the Rose Red Tyrant part. Huh. Chapter 2. A dark hallway, a long staircase, unsettling green light. The painting on the wall spoke to him. Go right if you want to get out of here. No, go left. Where was he? Why were the painting talking? Yuya was almost in tears as he stumbled through the unfamiliar building, but no matter how far he ran or where he hid, Grim was able to sniff him out. There were any number of doors lining the corridors, and Yuya desperately yanked at each of them, but not one would open for him. There appeared to be no one else in the entire building save for him and the creature Grim. The hallway steadily grew narrow and the more complicated until, at last, he found himself trapped in a dead end. Through the dusty glass of the small window there, he could see the moon looming so large that it seemed fake. But at least this appeared to be actual sky and not another chandelier. When he looked down, he saw another moon shimmering there, and he realized it was the reflection of the moon off water, which meant there was a river or ocean or something below him, but it was unclear how deep or far away it was. and Yuya did not have the courage to break the window and jump out of it. Grim laughed malicious. No, not malicious. Maliciously.
That's it. Nice and quiet now.
Grim, you could have just picked another coffin. Like, you don't have to chase Yuya around, you know? Stay away from me, Yuya yelled, shuddering in fear. The neat rows of teeth in Grim's open mouth looked razor sharp, like they could easily take a chunk off of him. Grim inched closer, his tail flickering back and forth.
Now, unless you want to get burnt to a crisp, take off that.
Who's this? Oh, Crowley? I'm skimming ahead. Okay, yeah, I think this is Crowley. Okay. Oh, I like do Crowley's voice. I found you at... No, that's not him. Watashi wa yasashii no de. Yeah, I guess like that. I found you at last. A voice from behind Grim interrupted. Splendid! But really, you mustn't go wandering off on your own like that. Grim whirled around, and Yuya looked up with a startled gasp. Uh-huh? A man in a curious outfit stood before him in the hallway. A top hat perched his head, and a long coat that hung off his shoulder exaggerated his height and drew the eye. He carried an imposing cane shaped like a key. More conspicuous, however, was a black mask he wore over his pale face, covering his forehead and reaching down below his glittering golden eyes. The mask's nose was sharply pointed like a bird's beak. Imagine my surprise when I entered the mirror chambers and discovered one of the gates was open. The man amused languidly. I took inside and found nothing. But an empty shell. Do you think that you would open your own gate and step out before I could unlock it? Truly unprecedented. Truly unprecedented. However, did you manage it? But please help me, Yuya cried in response. I'm being attacked by a monster.
You think you can stop me or something?
Grim growled as he turned towards the man.
You've got some nerve. I can take you both easy. Snap.
An inky shadow shot through the air.
Oh,
Grim yelled as the length of the black fabric twisted himself around him and bound his arms to his side in the blink of an eye. The fabric stretched and shrunk eerily, as if it was alive.
Meow! What is this stash?
It is not a stash. Consider it tough love. The masked man turned the tip of the cane in his hand towards the stuffed animal monster. You were about to use magic there, weren't you? Well, I simply cannot have you running around really nearly in this confined space.
Oh, well, okay, you asked for it.
And there you go, trying to cast your magic again, the man said coolly as Grim flopped around like a fish out of water at his feet. Black fabric covered his mouth now, too. I really must insist that you do not. Each time the man waved his key-shaped cane, his tough love stash tightened around Grim. This is weird. The weasel wizard looked like a frog being eaten by a large snake. As Yuya stared in the gaze, the man turned to him. Dear me, you must... What? Dear me, yours is quite the poor trained familiar. Oh. School rules do not permit untamed monster companions. Familiar? Yuya parroted. The man shook his head, exasperated. Not only do you go and open your gate, but you also leave the mirror chambers immediately summon a familiar and go exploring the school.
Honestly, you are much more daring than your appearance would suggest.
I don't. Yuya stammered. Where am I?
The top floor of the eastern wing, the man replied immediately. The very furthest out from the school, currently used for storage.
So the. Oh wait, no, okay. I was like, wait, the mirror chamber is used for storage. No, it's the other way. Okay.
Yuya couldn't handle any.
Come on.
The dog is behind me. Yuya couldn't handle any of this. School? The man nodded as if this was natural and obvious, and tugged Grim under his arm. He seemed entirely unbothered by Grim's desperate struggling. Your orientation has already begun. Come now, let's hurry back to the mirror chambers.
My orientation?
Yuya stared back at him blankly. Yes, the man nodded again. The Academy's traditional orientation. I'm certain you've been looking forward to it. When Yuya said nothing, the man frowned and gave him a curious look. After a moment of silence, he asked, Do you actually not know what's happening? I do not. That's exactly the thing. Yuya was immensely relieved to have found someone understanding what he was going through. From the moment he opened his eyes, he has been surrounded by unsettling weirdness, as if he was trapped in some kind of nightmare.
Oh boy. Okay, I'm not sure for the novel if it's all the same you, but Lord save Book 7 you. Both manga, anime, well, manga and anime are the same. Both the manga and the novel you. Save them from Book 7. Book 7 is gonna be massive though. Like, how many parts? Because just this one is already massive. It's like 300 pages. It's thick. I did not expect this to be so thick. Where did I? The moment he opened his eyes, he had been surrounded by unsettling weirdness and trapped in. The floodgates opened, and all the questions he had been building up poured out. Oh, where am I? What was that coffin? What is this creature? How did I get here? The man smiled pacily despite the abrupt interrogation. The time-stand teleportation must have addled your memories. Well, this thing happened, I suppose. No need to worry, I shall explain to you while we walk. Truly, my magnanimity is boundless. This is probably where he was like, Watashi wa yasashii no de. The birdman extended a graceful arm to the bewildered Yuya, like a bird spreading its wing, although Green continued to struggle and fell under his other arm. Whoosh! Flames sparked to life and on the candles affixed to the wall. A string of lights raced down each one on the hallway, like an invisible runner with a match that was setting the flame to candles. At once the dark receded to the corners. This is Night Raven College, the man announced with a dramatic flourish. The most prestigious arcane academy of all of Twisted Wonderland, for students of the world over who demonstrate a rare aptitude for magic. I am Dow Crowley, having entrusted with its care by the chaperone. I serve as the head mage. Oh, I get it. This isn't a nightmare. I'm actually still dreaming, Yuya thought absent-mindedly as he looked at the smiling man before him. This was a dream. It absolutely, without a doubt, a dream. After all, Dr. Crowley's words were too impossible, too unreal. You stand among their ranks, Crowley continued, as a fledgling sorcerer and a new student at our college. Yuya was walking home from school alone when he was forced to stop at a light where it was almost never red. It had almost been 6 months since he had started high school, but this was the first time he had been stopped at this crosswalk. That's like coming the same way twice a day, every day. It was a narrow road that bicycles rarely traveled, much less cars. He remembered thinking that it was weird. The light finally turned green, and he had just taken a step forward when he heard a strange sound. What's that? He frowned and looked around. Feels like it's getting louder too. Brr! What's that sound? Brr! Your man's deaf. It sounds like someone blowing air through closed. Okay, I guess it's more gentle. I guess. It sounded like someone blowing air through closed lips. He had no memories of anything after that. So was it a car? Was it a carriage? What was it, huh? Was it just the wind? It's always the wind. Oh, yada yada. Water break because I need to be hydrated. I don't think anyone's watching, but if you're watching this, stay hydrated. That was the carriage coming to pick you up, Crowley said, casually after hearing Yuya's story. All of the students at Night Raven College go through the gates are brought here in horse-drawn carriages. To this day, we continue our college time-honoring tradition of sending a carriage to meet students. He looked back at Yuya. How did you like that? Pretty impressive, yes. He expected nothing less from a prestigious school, Man, I went to like I guess, kind of like prestigious school? Like a private school in high school. Man, if they came to pick me up in a horse carriage on the first day of school, man, I would have been glazing that school. But at last, it's boring. Boo. Yuya had a million questions, but given that this was a dream, there was no point in getting too worked out about the details. Yuya is so chill about this. Boy. So he merely asked, "What's the gate?" "The gate that you came out of," was the answer he got. "The coffin was the gate?" he cried. "Yes." Yes! Yeah! He probably said this more nonchalant. Nah, 多分. "Yes," Crowley nodded firmly. You come to the school and are reborn as magnificent mages. Mage. Quite a fitting concept for youth brimming with such hope, yes. Grim glared at Yuya with resentful eyes from where he was pinned beneath Crowley's arm. Yuya pretended not to notice this as he trailed after Crowley, perhaps choosing to go with the flow. He had apparently come quite a ways from his attempt at escaping. They went down any number of staircases before arriving at the door he recognized. "Now then," Crowley looked at him, "we have returned to the mirror chambers. Finding you was quite the trial indeed, so I imagine the orientation has already reached the dawn assignments right now." He broke off abruptly. Yuya looked up to see Crowley's pale lips were pulling into a grin. "This should be fun." Sorry?" Yuya stared at him, brows furrowed. "I'm simply dying to know which storm will be chosen for you." The man in the mask clasped his hands together with glee. "You are truly a breath of fresh air, opening your gate of all by yourself and breaking the student's mold. One does naturally harbor certain expectations." Expectations? Yuya gasped. "Hang on a second. Students!" Crowley said, voice projecting outward as the door swung open forcefully, even though he had not so much laid a finger on it. "I've brought your new star, the talk of our little town. Our freshest cohort is all together at last." People. So many people. They were back in the room where Yuya had first woken up, but instead of the rows of coffins, there were now rows of individuals, hundreds of them, and all of their eyes turned towards Yuya as he stepped into the room. A heart beat before he could turn and run. The door closed with a clank. Yuya gasped. The pillar shone with a warm light, making the room much brighter than it had been when he first seen it. Everyone gathered within was wearing the same showy robe as Yuya, wrapped in the same inky black from the tops of their head to the tip of their toes. But despite dressing But I like only just drifted onto the image on the next page. I was like, woo. But despite being dressed uniformly, one group in particular drew his eyes. They were sitting in an open area towards the back of the corridor, facing the countless others. Headband. Oh, okay. This is Karim. 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 How do you pronounce his name in English? Kalim? That's what my friend said. Karim. Oh, headmate, you're finally here! Called the boy with white hair adorned with decorative headband. We're done with the dorm assignments. We were just talking about what we should do now. You're so late. I thought maybe you had the tummy ache. He laughed cheerily. Yue felt a flicker of relief at the boy's bright demeanor. This is the tall, muscular boy. Who? Oh, Leona? This is the new kid who opened the gate all by himself. A tall, masculine boy snorted. I mean, I have my doubts. Ears poked out from his long, shiny dark hair twitched. They were animal ears. Unconsciously, Yuya stared and received a glare in return, and turned his blood to ice. So he hurriedly looked away. The sharp light in the other boy's eyes was reminiscent of a large carnivore. Golden hair, but was pulled back. Golden hair that was pulled back. Phil, is his hair golden? Golden hair that was pulled back. Dale. Golden hair that was pulled back. Who pulls their hair back? Bill? Not really, kinda. I've never heard of anything like that. How did you do it? Brute force? Or maybe magic? Asked a person with golden hair that was pulled back as he turned challenging eyes on Yuya. This individual was, captivating and gorgeous. Yuya couldn't have been more surprised about any gender they had turned out to be. Their beauty was astonishing, that Yuya would have accepted without a question, that they were not even human, but rather magical creatures. Wow. Phil single-handedly turned Yuya bisexual and captivated by his beauty. If it was wait, who is this? Silver hair. Azul! If it was magic, then you've had quite the power. Wait, how do I do a Alexandro? Wait, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm gonna try to pronounce his name. Sayu. I only know how to pronounce his VTuber name, Sayu. I'm gonna pull a Sayu for it. If it was magic, then you've got quite the power. We'd love to have you in our dorm. A boy with silver hair said to Yuya. A gentle smile crossed his lips. The smile itself was kind, but wait, I'm gonna admire the page before I. Oh my god! Wait, he's actually like his mouth. Wait, Iria's here. Oh my god. Where's they didn't draw Yana Sensei. Where's Leona? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, Amelius isn't here. Oh. The smile itself was kind, but the narrow eyes behind his glasses shone with a cool intellect. Every move he made was economical as he calculated the trajectory of his motion down to the last finger twitch. Azul aura forming. I'm gonna save that quote. Every move he made was economical. Okay, this is Iya. Right from orientation, all eyes in the school are on you. Maybe you've been reading too much Cautious Hero or something, or some other light novel. A tablet floating amidst the hood students flashed. Apparently, this was the source of the voice, which spoke with a rumbly pitch that feels like crawling through the depths of earth. Good luck, book 6, you Uh, the words came too quick for Yuya to catch all. Okay, let me read. Too quick for Yuya to catch them all. Right from the orientation, all this guy on you. Maybe you've been reading too much Cautious Hero or something like some other light novel. But the tone gave him the impression that the tablet was not particularly interested in speaking with anyone anyways. It was already half an hour past the scheduled end for the orient. This is fatal. I'm not gonna do a British accent. I don't think I can do a British accent. It's already half an hour past the scheduled end of the orientation. A boy with red hair announced flatly. We should assign him to dorm immediately, in line with regulations. His voice... Is his voice that deep? No, Hane Natsuki's voice isn't that deep. His voice was unshakably firm. He was clearly not about to allow any further waste of time. The students whispering about Yuya instantly fell silent, but the words lingered in his ears, whether he liked it or not. Coming in late with the head mage, is he seriously that great of a mage? This guy's really going all in right from orientation. Ah, wait. Okay, I don't know who these two are, but I think that third one is KK? Pretty. Wait. KK. You can call me Craig. I don't know. How do I do KK's one? Pretty interesting. Some nerve of a mere human. Oh, it's a bag! This is a bag! Wakasaba! Some nerve for a mere human. Everyone there was keenly interested in Yuya in one way or another. Wait, who is the first two? Okay. Coming in late, that leave the heavy, you just really that great of words. This could be a lot of people. This could be Ace. This could be... Okay, who's a hater? Who's a hater? Ace? Maybe a pal? Now, I guess this has to be Ace then, right? Yeah. This guy's really going on right from orientation. Deuce, because he wants to be an honor student, I think. Ace, Deuce, KK, Sabek. It wouldn't make sense that this is all the first years and then Cater. Everyone there was keenly interested in Yuya in one way or another. It was clearly expecting great things from him. No, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy, he says. He cried desperately, as if to wake himself from this nightmare. All his outbursts did nothing. All his outbursts did was nothing. Well, did was make people look at him again, with the pressure of those countless pair of eyes was almost enough to crush him to dust. He tried to step away, to retreat, but Crowley gave him a hearty push. He looked over his shoulder and frantically shook his head, but Crowley forced a heavy feet towards, fathering into the corridor. Now then, everyone's waiting, he said briskly. Step up to the dark mirror and be quick about it. The dark mirror? Yuya, I'm making Yuya sound really like hesitant. The dark mirror? Yuya furrowed his brows, then swallowed the question on his tip of his tongue, because the answer was immediately obvious. A large round mirror was enshrined in the corridor ahead, looking magnificently at with a shiny gold frame. A crown sat on the peak, and below it twisting snakes were engraved into the flame, encircling the glass, just like the first gate Yuya had seen. The mirror was hanging in the air, suspended by nothing. Urged on by Crowley, he peered into the glass, and a boy with short black hair appeared on the surface. Eyebrows, nose, mouth. Who? He peered into the glass. Why is there a boy? Who is this boy? No one thing distinguished the boy in any way. Who is this? If pressed to highlight a notable feature, Yuya would have said the boy's eyes were perhaps a bit rounder than average. But even if this is people, no. If you press, Yuya would have said this boy's eyes would have a bit rounder than average. But even this did not conflict with his other features. The roundness of his eyes blended in with the rest so well that it would have been forgotten the second anyone was looking at this free face glance away. To put it nicely, a face had been a comfortable familiarity to it. Put it not so nicely, it was mediocre. Oh wait, no, this is himself. Ah! Is it? Yeah, okay, this is Yuya. It was mediocre, a sort of every man's face, which, if encountered in the morning, it had be forgotten by evening. It was a face Yuya saw in the mirror every day. What's the point of making him look at it now? How long is... Wait. He had just opened his mouth to ask Crowley this question when the mirror abruptly flashed. A green flame filled the glass. Reflexivity. Reflexivity. I need to learn how to speak. He looked over his shoulders. There was nothing there. The fire was only inside the mirror. As if to quench that fire, a haunting face appeared in the center of the mirror. Yuya couldn't tell if it was a mask, a doll, or an actual person. It was just a face. He gasped in amazement and realized the mirror was showing someone other than himself, and that someone spoke in a deep, masculine voice. "State your name," the mirror commanded. Yuya Kuroki," Yuya stammered. Yuya Kuroki. He felt a tickle deep down inside. It was a curious sensation, like someone was tugging on the inside of his ribs. The man in the mirror had no eyeballs, only an eye socket, gaping emptily. Yuya couldn't tell what he was focusing on, and had the distinct sensation that a man was looking at all of him, into the deepest depths of his mind, leaving no stones unturned. The mirror said, "The nature of your soul is..." A cry interrupted the man in the mirror. Yuya looked back to see Grim break free from when he was held under Crowley's arm. "Ah, there he goes again," Crowley sighed. "I was too focused on the dorm assignment." "If you thought you could keep me out of the game, you got another thing coming." Grim spun around neatly in the air and dropped onto the ground. Standing tall on 2 feet, he had threw his head back. He cried, and a sea of flame spread before him. Grim was shooting fire from his mouth. As he kept exhaling from the seemingly impossible length of time given the size of his body, the corridor instantly became a raging inferno. The flames the same pale color as Grim's eyes, and excluding a dazzling heat. Yuya automatically covered his face with his arm. "It's so hot." It was fire. Of course it would be hot to the touch. Of course it would burn. This sent a shock through Yuya. This isn't a dream, he realized abruptly. "So you're trying to steal my thunder and get all of the glory, huh? Well, you're way out of your league, buddy." Grim crowded before Yuya knew it. He was alone with Grim in the middle of the small circle of flames. "You'll have to fight me for it." "Fight?" Yuya asked as he stared blankly at the animal. "Me?" "Yep," Grim nodded firmly. "My plan was to switch places with you. Well, I love the doo-doo." Who translated this? "My plan was to switch places with you while all the doo-doos were sleeping. And then you went off and ran off
Uh, and then you went and ran off on me. Well, you could have just gotten into the coffin by yourself, you know. I lost track of where I was. But if I take you down, they'll see that I'm the one with the real power, and there'll be an opening for a new student. His large mouth ached upwards, his fangs glittering. That seat's as good as mine. I'm a genius. We don't have to fight for it, Yuya said, nearly in tears, holding up. Oh, Yuya, don't cry. My weakness is male characters that cry. Holding out both his hands as if offering it to Grim, a silver platter with his school enrollment on it. You can totally have my spot. I don't even know what's going on here. But Grim paid him absolutely no mind and drew another deep breath, filling his stomach. Yuya turned and tried to run, only to feel a burst of heat scorching his back. If you won't play, Grim snapped, then I'll get this game started. Oh, wait, Yuya pleaded. Stop! Don't! I surrender! Here we go! Don't! Yuya screws his eyes shut. Snap! He heard an air crack around him, and then everything went quiet. Even the roaring of flames had faded to nothing. Ever so timidly, Yuya opened his eyes to find the fire frozen around him, crystallizing in his attempt to devour his surrounding, almost as if they had been forgotten by time. Tiny sparks became shards of ice and tumbled to the ground. Both of you, said a male voice. Crunch, crunch. He heard the sound of feet stepping on ice, moving towards him. You seem to think you can do whatever you please here. The red-headed boy appeared in front of Yuya from between two chunks of ice. He was the one who had been annoyed by their late entrance earlier. Yuya had thought he was the taller one at first glance. Hello, I hope you have a great day, evening. Thank you for reading the novel, The Voices. Oh my god, hi! Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm doing my best. I hope you enjoy me reading it out loud. The red-haired boy appeared in front of Yuya to be from between two chunks of ice. He was the one who had been annoyed by their late entrance earlier. Yuya had thought he was the taller one at first glance, but now his small physique dominated the entire room. His presence was threatening, and the look of his face frightening in its anger. I will tolerate no more of this nonsense, the boy declared, his voice entirely devoid of emotion. Yuya cowered in abject fear, but Grim was Ether's utmost confidence. Grim growled. Another someone getting in my way. A large ice pillar stood where Grim had been only moments earlier. He raised up it leisurely on all four paws and laughed from up high. Listen, I'm gonna knock all of you flying with my magic extraordinary, he shouted. So you better. Are you ready for your sentence? Should he be like angry or like calm? What would Riddle? He was pretty mad in the entrance ceremony, the anime. So, are you ready for your sentence? The boy asked. Huh? Yuya frowned and looked at the boy. Something strange was happening. Grim also seemed to have guessed that something was off. Like Yuya, he stared at the boy with one hand in the air. Silence first, verdict afterwards. Incredible power. Yes, power. Not heat, cold, light, or wind. This was the only way Yuya could describe the overwhelming force that swirled like a vortex around the red-headed boy. Yuya simply stood there, rooted to the spot. He didn't try to run away. Not because he thought he was any match for this force, but rather because he didn't know what else to do in the face of this enormous amount of energy. He felt like the nearly invisible power might explode if he had so much as moved a muscle. He was so afraid that he could hardly stand it. The redhead boy's arm dropped down towards Grim. Off with your head! Yay! He said the thing! Off with your head! The boy shouted. An arrow of light shot out at Grim. There was a brief flash, then it's nighttime right now. I should probably not be that loud. I don't want to anger my neighbors. An arrow of light shot out at Grim. There was a brief flash, and an arrow transformed into a large red and black shackle. The second the open end touched Grim's neck, it snapped shut with a heavy clank. What the? Grim shook his head, but the shackle held fast. You're supposed to be all tough, but your magic's a flop. Don't try and collar me. I'll burn it right off. Yuya managed to cover his face with his hand this time, but all he heard was a faint wheeze. Uh-huh. Yuya wondered if he timidly opened his eyes and saw Grim blowing on his own hands, baffled. What gives? Grim scowled. My flames ain't working! Glasses. Okay, this is good show as always, Riddle, says the boy with the glasses as he applauded from where he stood on the opposite side of the ice. The rest of the students were all looking at them too. They seemed like they were not so much simply watching what happened, but rather spectating an artistry. The boy with glasses laughed cheerily, paying little mind to Grim. Your signature spell locks down any magic, he said to the redhead boy. It's really quite handy, isn't it? I've just got to have it. I just got to have respect for it. Azul. Azul never stopped trying. Lockdown magic! Grim yelled. Exactly. Exactly. The red-headed boy, Riddle, said as he grabbed Grim by the scruff of his neck and lifted him up. The dog is behind me. Until I decide to remove that collar, you won't be using any magic. Yuya noticed several pillars of ice neatly arranged around Grim, blocking any escape route. They must have deliberately missed Grim with the earlier ice attack magic to guide him to this dead end and render him unable to use magic. Grim kicked and failed again, and failed, throwing his arms around against his sad shackle. It's no use, Riddle told him. You're not but a pet cat now. Meow, what? Grim snarled. I ain't nobody's pet nothing. Who is this? Riddle. Oh, you're nothing to worry about there. I certainly have no interest in such a rude and violent pet. Unlike a certain someone, I am no fool. Riddle glared at Yuya, who was watching the argument with a pale face. You! What? Yuya replied, his voice too loud and forceful. First, you marched into the orientation late with your head held high. Then, you nearly set the mirror chambers on fire. Overwhelmed, Yuya flinched and shrank as the redhead boy continued to press him. First and above all else, this is a violation of Queen of Hearts rules. You must know Rule 23. Hearts? Yuya stammered. Rules? Your ignorance is honestly stupefying, Riddle told him. Do you really not know the Queen of Hearts Rule 23? One must never bring a cat into former attire. No? Yuya shook his head quickly. Incredible. Have you ever cracked a book open in your life? I'm sorry. Riddle's expression alone was enough to make anyone look upon him shaking their boots. An almost murderous rage colored his face, a blue vein throbbing violently on his forehead. Yuya had serious doubt about his chance for survival, as if he said this was his first time hearing of any such rule. Instead, he bowed down until he was nearly prostrate on the ground. I assume you were attempting to flaunt your magical ability through the use of your familiar. But this is strictly prohibited, Riddle said coolly. It seems as though I will have to personally make you aware of the rules of this academy if we ever manage to finish this orientation. He whirled around, resoluting, like a robot, his rose flapping behind him. I will tell you this. No matter... it's matter not a whit to me which storm selects you. Given you've broken the Queen of Hearts rule, I must carry my duty as the House Warden of Heartslabu. Heartslabu. It's weird because I don't know how to actually pronounce any of the dorms' names. I've just been pronouncing them how I assume they're pronounced. Heartslabu. Riddle's footsteps echoed as he crossed the mirror's chambers. As he approached the door, still holding Grim up, several other boys raced over to him. Hey! Grim yelled. What are you gonna do with me? I'm not gonna do anything to you, Riddle sniffed. I'm throwing you out. That collar will be removed after the period of time. If you can't behave yourself, then it's back to your nest with you. Riddle thrust Grim out as the student gathered around them. They bent at the knees and accepted the squirming bundle of fur. All of their faces were marked with painted symbols: diamond, club, spades, heart. You lot, remove the insolent fellow from the campus, Riddle demanded. Hey, Niocho! Yes, House Warden, they chorused as one. Curses! Curses, you! Don't think you've seen the last of me! Grim protested desperately, no magic coming from his mouth as he yanked up by both his arms. You fools better remember my name, 'cause I'm gonna go down in the annals of magic history. Just you wait. The doors closed, cutting his shout short. In the last moments, his eyes were full of regret. Oh no, his eyes were full of regret. Watching from a safe distance, Yuya thought Grim looked like a captured weasel and felt a little sorry for him, but there was nothing he could do now. Not to mention that it seemed like Yuya would do better to concern himself with his own situation. Suddenly, something was pushed up against his chin. He was shocked. There was a flash of red in the corner of his eyes. The decision of which storm you belong to will reveal us your true nature. Now then, let's have you show us this great power of yours. Riddle smiled. He's being sadistic here. Okay, sadistic Riddle. The decision of which storm you belong to will reveal to us your true nature. Now then, let's have you show us this great power of yours. Riddle smiled deliberately with his mouth alone. The smile did not reach his eyes, and Yuya understood that this was a challenge. Although Riddle moved like an adult calm, Yuya guessed they were basically the same age. His still plump cheek were flushed, and he exuded energy and confidence. His pride as a powerful fighter was written all over his body. He would not flinch in the face of any opponent, no matter how strong. Do it, Riddle snapped. Right, Yuya answered as he turned towards the dark mirror, and the man appeared once again. He acknowledged Yuya standing before him and spoke the same words he had before. Yuya Kuroki, the nature of your soul is... Gulp. He heard the sound of someone swallowing hard from nowhere in particular, and realized the sound hadn't come out from just one person. Everyone assembled before the dark mirror had gasped, waiting with bated breath as the dark mirror continued. Their interests, expectations, envy, all of it danced on Yuya's nerves and weighed him down. He clenched, shaking hands into fists. He had only one wish. Please, please, nothing happened. Please. You get your wish come true. He didn't know whether his prayers were heard. The dark mirror spoke again. The dark mirror spoke again. Unclear to me. What? Riddle asked. His eyes grew round in surprise. Next to him, Crowley was equally surprised. Dark Mirror, what did you just say? He queried. I sense no magical power in this one. Soundless, colorless, shapeless, utterly vacant. The mirror continued. The chattering in the mirror chamber gradually grew louder. Therefore, no dorm will be appropriate. No dorm? Crowley cried. The students standing around looked at each other. Yuya could hear quiet laughter among the murmuring voices. Ace? I know that is Ace. Ace, when I find you. He turned around, and a group of boys who had spoken to Crowley. When he turned around, the group of boys who had spoken to Crowley when he and Yuya entered the mirror chambers were sneaking. Okay, no, right. Wait! Kalim! Bill! Azul! Okay, Edie I get, but Leona? Guys. Silver. Well, the boy with silver hair pushed up his glasses and said to the boy with golden hair next to him, This is quite the disappointment, So, who said we... So, who was it who said we got this amazingly powerful student this year? The boy with the golden hair demanded. The head mage. Okay, Will and Azul's voice are very similar. I'm giving their like kind of similar voices, which I'm not supposed to. The silver hair boy responded. There's a record of the whole thing in the logs. Definitely him. The tablet flashed a video and a video played showing Crowley declaring, Edia, you recorded the whole thing. All of which to say our very special new student stepped out of his own. I shall now go and seek him out. This is very exciting, everyone. The screen showed Crowley exiting the mirror chamber. All of the students in the school glared at the hedge maid. He hardly waved his hand in defensive protest. It's simply not possible for the Black Harriage to receive a human being who cannot use magic, he insisted. From my understanding, the student selection process had not erred once in a century of its existence. Who's this? The boy with... Well, don't get too down about it, the boy with white hair said, trying to cheer Crowley up. That's the first time for everything. I'm telling you, this is absurd. Crowley looked at Yuya for salvation. Wait, you brought along that familiar, did you not? You must have magic then. Familiar? Yuya repeated. Do you mean that creature green? Yes. I didn't bring him with me, he said, hurriedly shaking his head from side to side. He already told Crowley this a million times. He was there when I woke up. I've never seen that creature in my life. Oh, so is that so? Crowley frowned. You really should have said sooner. Yuya held his tongue, although he dearly wanting to snap that Crowley had simply gone ahead and assumed that Grim was his familiar. Hello, I hope you enjoyed this moment. Hi, I'm really enjoying this novel so far. It's a really different experience from playing the game, reading the manga, and watching the anime. So I'm really enjoying it so far. Yes. Hi. But the disappointment in the room came through loud and clear in everyone's eyes and sight. He just wanted to make it out of this experience in one piece. All he could do was hang his head and apologize. Riddle snorted in laughter. The mess you made of the orientation is truly unforgivable. But I take back what I said earlier. I have no intentions of scolding you any further. You're an outsider, after all. Riddle looked deflated. Deflated? Riddle looked deflated somehow. Or maybe he was the slightest... Or maybe he was the slightest bit sympathetic towards Yuya. Yeah. Either way, he immediately turned his gaze on Crowley. So Yuya couldn't tell what he was really thinking. Head mage, may we please return to the dorms? Riddle asked. We have a new student tour. Nah, we're already 20 minutes late. Oh, yes, right. How about you go and do that? Crowley clapped his hands together as if this was the most welcome change of subject. I hereby declare the orientation has concluded. House wardens, please escort your student back to the dorm. The ones who moved at the words house warden were the boys who had first spoken up when Crowley and Yuya had arrived at the mirror chamber. Some held their heads high and some moved lazily. Whatever their reaction to Crowley's command, all new students are followed are all new the new students all followed their directions. These house wardens were clearly leaders of some kind. Although most of the students followed the house warden's instruction and automatically grouped together, some looked around anxiously, searching the room with perplexed looks. Noticing this, Crowley cocked his head to one side and asked, Where's Malleus Draconia? I don't see him anywhere. The house wardens blinked. Now that you mention it, the boy with animal ears laughed. I knew I was feeling good for some reason. So that little lizard's not here. Waka-sama! They didn't invite Waka-sama! Golden... We forgot to invite him again. The boy with golden hair sighed. But rather than appearing frustrated or annoyed, he merely shrugged his shoulders, so Yara couldn't really tell how serious he was. It seems that only the boy with the white hair was actually concerned. His eyebrow pulled together into a V as he scratched his head and said, Again? Poor Malleus, we did him wrong. Karim, you have the heart of gold. Karim. Who is this? A small guy, small statured boy. Oh, Liliaki. Honestly, Yuli just realized he's not here. A small statured boy asked in a deep voice as he appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Gah! Crowley jumped in surprise. Van Roge, where did you come from? As before, there's no official notice about the orientation. I went out to look for him in a hurry there, but I couldn't find him yet. With his vivid pink hair tucked into his hood and white, almost fearful eyes that were red like raspberries, this Van Rogue boy was as striking as any of the house wardens. Van Rogue laughed. Ah, poor Malleus. I really hope he's not angry. And Sorry, the boy with white hair said. We weren't trying to leave Malleus out or anything. He's the problem there, though, the boy with golden hair interjected. I mean, he's not exactly the easiest person to talk to. Don't say that, Van Rogue replied. We're all school chums, aren't we? Don't overthink it. Just be friends with him. Be friends with his son. The white-haired boy nodded firmly, while the beautiful golden-haired boy shook his head in exasperation. The other students looked around nervously. Van Roge winked playfully. Well, not to worry, new students. In the place of the house warden, Malleus Draconia, I will lead you to the Diasomia dorm. Diasomia? Diasomia. You call it Dias. To the Diasomia dorm with as the deputy house warden. The school burst into excitement whisper. So the house warden for Diasomia is the Malleus Draconia? It's true. He really does go to Night Raven College. Yikes, I totally don't want to run into that guy. Yuya figured this Malleus Draconia person must be famous, and the sound of his name alone inspires this much fear. The boy with the animal ears clicked his tongue. I should have gone home to bed instead of wasting time at his orientation. He waved his hand. Savannah Claus students, follow me. Oh, children, the tablet said, sounding deeply annoyed. He calls his first-year children. I'll send the campus map to your phones. Find your way to the dorm, bro. It's okay, Arthur will... no. Arthur will not lead them because Arthur is not a first-year student yet. Find your way... The light disappeared from the screen. The other boys in the room called out to one another and chatted as they sort themselves out. Amidst the commotion, Yuya heard Riddle's voice call out. Hartslabule students do. Hartslabule dorm students. Right face. Right face. Right. First step with your left foot. Line up behind the deputy house warden. Okay, I'm not used to them saying deputy house warden. I'm used to them saying vice house warden. Their earlier enthusiasm fizzed out. The students nearly turned their back on Yuya and marched out of the mirror chamber on quick feet, leaving only Yuya, Crowley, and the dark mirror in silence. Uh, it was Crowley who broke the silence. I'm sorry about all of that. Oh, Yuya said. No, I'm sorry I couldn't be what you were hoping for. It was Crowley who had simply assumed that he was a new student and pushed his expectations on a reluctant Yuya. This whole fracas was something that Yuya had been dragged into against his will, and yet in the face of Crowley's obvious and utter disappointment, Yuya felt the urge to run away, as if he was himself and somehow to blame. Crowley sighed, clearly disheartened, but Yuya couldn't help but wonder how he was able to express such emotion when the majority of his face was covered by a mask. I thought we might finally be successful this year if an impressive new student to rival Draconia were to arrive at the school. I don't really understand, Yuya said timidly in a desperate effort to keep from discouraging Crowley further. Perhaps Crowley felt a bit better after wallowing his emotions for a moment. I suppose not, he said, and cleared his throat. Let us turn our minds to other considerations then. Yeah, let's, Yuya thought to himself. I'll be in real trouble out here otherwise. They're finally getting to what mattered to him. So then, he said, what should I do here? Crowley pressed his finger to his chin. This is a most unfortunate turn of events. You do not understand that I cannot very well admit a student with no magical ability to my academy. But worry not. It does seem that this was an error on our part, so we will use the power of the dark mirror to return you to your home immediately. This is quite a catastrophe. He turned to the dark mirror and raised his arms. Lazy flames erupted in the mirror, and the man rose up in the center once more. Now then, O dark mirror, return this soul to where it belongs, Crowley commanded. At last, he'll be able to go home, Yuya told himself with a sigh of relief. Then he heard the mirror's words echo in his mind. There is no such place. What? Yuya thought, startled. There is no place in the world where the souls belong. There's no place in the world where the soul belongs. What did you say? Crowley asked as Yuya stood, speechless. That's not possible. Wait, didn't I say that earlier as well? Mine, but today is a veritable cavalcade of impossible phenomena. I really hope no one's listening to this. This is embarrassing. Crowley repeated his command, but no matter how many times he demanded the mirror return Yuya to his home, the mirror response was the same. Nowhere. There was no place for Yuya to go home to. There was only the thing the man in the mirror would say. It doesn't know where he belongs, so it can't send him here. Crowley sighed at such length that clouds appeared on the mirror glass. What's your name? Yuya Kuroki, Yuya replied promptly. Yuya? Yuya? Crowley frowned. Yuya. Yuya said his name again. Yuya said his name again, but apparently it was too difficult for Crowley to replicate. That's not name, he said, finally. It's a bit hard to pronounce. Do you mind if I just call you Yu? Yuya nodded in agreement, and the headmate grew thoughtful. Tell me, Yu, he said, from what land do you hail? I'm from Nihon, Yuya told him. Nikai? No, Nikan? Japan. Yuya tried the English name of his country, but that apparently did not click for Crowley either. Japan. The lines on Crowley's forehead grew even more pronounced. Yuya had been speaking Japanese this whole time, and no one had any trouble understanding him until this point. So there really was no point in trying. I like how they actually point out this thing of him like speaking in Japanese and everyone like understanding him. So there really was no point trying with English. But wait, was he really speaking Japanese? The words were leaving his mouth without a second thought, and he wasn't exactly having issues then understanding what everyone else said. But when he thought about it, he did feel like something slightly off. The words he said, the words he was thinking, and the movement of his own mouth didn't match. I am. His mouth opened and closed more often than required to say just those words. But the words still sounded the way he always did when they reached his ears. He thought he was speaking a language he knew, and somehow his ears and mouth were naturally translating into a language he didn't know. God, I want that ability. He frowned in concentration. I am intimately acquainted with the origins of students who come to Nighthaven College from all over the world, Crowley declared. But I am not familiar with this Nikai or Japan or whatever you speak of. This is perhaps, he hesitated as he pressed a hand onto his forehead. You may very well have come from another world. Another world? Yuya parroted in disbelief. Crowley nodded, his face dead serious. Despite Crowley sounding like he was telling a story straight from the pages of a manga or a novel, Yuya found himself nodding to these astounding words. The moment he'd seen magic, the second he'd seen Grimm, maybe even from the moment he'd opened his eyes for the first time in this room, he had the feeling that he wasn't in Japan or even Earth. This was a different world. At some point, he had emerged into a world called twst Wonderland, where magic mattered, of course. But how would I? Crowley shook his head and said he didn't know the reason himself. To think the Dark Mirror would call a student from another world? I've never heard of such a thing. I'd like to know more, if possible. Do you have any personal items that would allow me a greater understanding of you or the world you came from? You? Greater understanding? Yuya asked. Yes, Crowley nodded. They have driver license. Okay, I guess Deuce did talk about driver license sometime. Where am I? I keep losing where I am. A driver license, for instance. A bag. For instance. When I woke up, I was already at the gate. I was carrying a bag, but it disappeared with my clothes. I had my student ID in my wallet, but Yuya patted himself down frantically. My phone! I had my smartphone in my pocket, but it's gone now too. Kids nowadays can't live without their iPhones. Incredible! Crowley cried, eyes widening. So you have a smartphone in your parallel world as well. I am also surprised by this, Yuya said cautiously. The first thing you asked is a driver's license? He had assumed that they had more fantastical things in this world, given the magic it contains. Crowley looked off in the distance, thoughtfully. All of which you say you have no personal effects on you. This is a predicament. Yuya really did have nothing, but Crowley pointed out that he felt cut adrift altogether. How was he supposed to live in a world where he didn't have even a single shoe to his name? It seemed that Crowley was also at a loss. It doesn't appear that we will be able to come to a solution to your situation anytime soon. No matter how we might rack our brains at this rate, you can stay at Night Raven College for tonight. You let me stay for tonight? For the night? Yuya cried. A surge of relief washed over him. Yes, Crowley nodded. I'm loath indeed to expel you in this situation. There's a vacant building on campus not currently in use. You may stay there. Yeah, that's great. You may call me head mage, you. Head mage, you replied. Thank you so much. You're thanking him too early. Before he knew it, he had taken both of Crowley's gloved hands in his own, overwhelmed with gratitude. That's a good boy. Wonderful. My kindness truly knows no bounds. Crowley smiled playfully. Now then, strike while the iron's hot, as they say. I shall take you to the dorm straight away. Please, do follow me. Chapter 3. Okay, I'm like page 49. And there's almost 400 pages. Okay, how do I want to do this? What's the time? I have work tomorrow. I have work tomorrow. I have to wake up early for work tomorrow. Okay, I might continue this tomorrow. I'm at chapter 3. It's gonna take me so long to get through it. But the smell of the book is so nice. Okay, I'm at chapter 3. I got out to chapter 3. We'll start from chapter 3 next time. I don't know when. But yeah. Okay, bye.